been to a show or an event where it was just a complete shit show? Like the artist comes out for only 5 seconds, or the line to get into the event is just terrible and people are dying, or someone just plays the same song 10 times in a row. You know, some real classy stuff. Well, throw all that in the trash, because that doesn't compare to what happened to the UnF America tour. Probably the biggest shit show in YouTube history. And if you don't believe me, just watch, because it's fucking terrible. Hey everybody, welcome back to another banger Advil video. We're fucking back, and today we're gonna be talking about something that's a little prevalent right now. It's a big story on TikTok, and that is the UnF America tour. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's a bunch of left-leaning political TikTokers who all got together to try to follow Charlie Kirk, a right-leaning political figure, across campuses around the country. You see, Charlie Kirk has been doing this thing where he goes from campus to talk to students and try to indoctrinate them into right-leaning politics. And so a lot of big left-leaning creators decided to try to counteract that and put some more effort out there. In this tour, there was a bunch of people, but most importantly, 2 guys named Dean and Parker. They are huge on TikTok and pretty big figures. If you've seen any of these Jubilee videos, you probably know who they are. But this thing was an absolute fucking shit show. I'll tell you what. If you've been on TikTok recently and you follow a single person who has ever thought about politics, you've definitely seen this. But the story is so messy and confusing that no one can really tell what's happening. So that's my job. That's my job. So I'm going to go over what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and I'm going to talk to a few of the people who were supposed to be on the tour and really try to debunk everything that was going on. Because again, I know I said this before, it was a shit show. So now that we kind of know the background information with Charlie Kirk and Dean and Parker, let's go over kind of the events that happened. So this tour got started by this lady named Z Cohen Sanchez. She is a political activist who's mostly behind the scenes. She hosts a lot of events and does a lot of things. And during Bernie Sanders' political run, she actually made a PAC for him. And if you don't know what a PAC is, that's a political action committee. It's basically just a committee or an organization to help fund and support a specific politician, where you can donate, raise money, and spread awareness for a specific politician. Pretty much everyone has it. And if you watch my video on political sponsors, we talk a lot about PACs. But while Z, the person who made the Bernie PAC, she saw Charlie Kirk, a massive right-leaning pundit, consistently try to sway the voters of Gen Zs, especially people in college. Because in the 2024 election, there was an unprecedented amount of people my age, younger, and around the same demographic that voted for the right, which is very rare for that to happen. So she decided to try to do something about it and actively engage and go against Charlie Kirk, probably the biggest person who's targeting Gen Z and people in my generation. So she took this $100,000 that she got left over from the PAC and decided to get Dean and Parker to help do the UnF America tour. But they decided to get some other smaller creators on TikTok involved, you know, just to have like a massive widespread amount of influence on TikTok. And in my opinion, the idea is actually pretty great. I think it's a fantastic idea, and if executed well, could mean a lot to a lot of different people and could be a really beneficial thing for the left. I'll get more into the weeds of it later, but overall, I think it's, you know, pretty all right. But this is where the fuck shit happens. So while they're setting it up and while they're announcing it, announcing where they're going to go, announcing the tour dates, announcing who is going to be on this tour, Z decides to go on a TikTok live stream. Z decided to go on this live stream hosted by a lady named Allie, and on this live stream, it was a panel of black ladies talking about the UnF America tour. Their complaints mainly consisted of that this was somewhat unorganized, and it might not be a great idea to have a tour that is about racism ultimately, or focusing on racism topics held by 2 white men and run by a white lady. So Z decided to get on this live and talk her shit. From an official statement, they said that she mama bared out, which eventually ended in her being a little aggressive to these ladies, to this panel. And ultimately, this was taken as not only racism, but a few other things, microaggressions being in there, and a few other things. And we'll get deeper into that later about my opinion and what actually happened in the live stream. But I'll play some clips real quick to kind of give some context and so you guys can kind of form your opinion on what really transpired.
Sure, it's great. It's great to see that the left is finally coming together. We can have a short conversation. I just can't stay up here long because I have to get out of meeting. But
gotcha.
Appreciate, you know, pushback in any respect. You know, obviously I'm an organizer. I'm used to that. I think that having conversations where we say things like, this is so unorganized, which came out of multiple people people's mouths, things like that, are directly harming the people of color that are behind this tour, that are working tirelessly to make this happen. And I'm just telling you guys that because I know that you don't know, okay? And so we have young people that are putting everything into this, that are scared of this administration, and then people are saying that they're unorganized.
There's
and
no fucking
I'm
actually saying that because other people of color are also working on this tour, that we cannot critique when things are done in bad faith.
That's not what I said. And
okay,
you assuming, Julie, you assuming that it's in bad faith.
What the fuck is going on?
Wait, I don't let people talk over me either. And I see that that's what you do, that you try to bully people.
Exactly,
and I don't
what the fuck is going on?
I would like to say that I was one of the people who have been specifically saying that this is severely disorganized. And that's when you came in and you said that.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You know what?
Sorry,
So this is exactly my point.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So after this live stream, it was kind of popular. Not really. It blew up a little bit, but one of the people on the actual tour named Peyton saw this and made a full video talking about it on TikTok. Now, just before anyone actually went to the first location, which was Dallas, he made a video talking about the whole situation and how he's still going to go to Dallas, but he's going to try to step away if they don't get rid of V or make some kind of public statement denouncing what she did on this live stream. This video got around 500 to 600,000 views. It was pretty popular, but not really popular enough to really shake the masses on the actual tour, because this tour had a collective multi-million follower count. I don't blame some people for not being able to see this. And I'll show you like a minute or so of that video, just kind of the meaty parts that are important to the full story.
I'm on my way to Texas for the Unfuck America tour. Basically, they sponsored a trip for a bunch of us creators to go and fuck with Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M. Anyway, the lead organizer, turns out she's incredibly racist. She hopped on a live last night where a bunch of black women, women creators on this app, who are obviously in the political space, were a little upset, voicing their concerns, talking about how they felt about the Unfuck America tour. And the lead organizer didn't like that very much, and so she hopped on there to spew, anti-black rhetoric, especially towards black women, making them sound like bullies and aggressive, and it was really gross. It was really gross. There is no other way to interpret what she did. She was just being racist, like telling them that because black women are involved, and how could it be problematic they didn't invite black women on this trip doing the thing that black women have been doing the best forever. I also want to point out, before she joined, they were being incredibly respectful from what I saw, okay? And even if they weren't, you're the fucking organizer for Unfuck America. You're the face of the brand. You're the one reaching out to creators. You reached out to me personally. I have one gripe with one person, the person who organized this, who was the person who decided not to include a lot of black women on this trip.
So after Peyton comes out with this video, V and the rest of the people on the Unfuck America tour decide to go to Dallas and do the whole thing, troll Charlie Kirk, meet some people, talk to some people, and this is when shit kind of hits the fan. It's when it kind of... So 5 days after that video was posted, Peyton got some responses to some of the things from viewers and random people on the tour and kind of associated. He got contacted by a few of the leads from the Unfuck America tour, basically saying that what he's doing is kind of fucked up and it's pushing and tearing the movement apart, and that he should probably stop it, and got politely asked to not be on the tour. So after Peyton's second video came out, a bunch of the creators who were on the tour started apologizing for Z's actions and being involved in it, and started speaking out about her. And it was like this huge behind the scenes PR nightmare. But there's two creators who did it, and that was Dean and that was Parker, and we'll get to that later. And along with that, there's a lot more information in this video, but I'll get to that later because the stuff we talk about that happens in the future ties heavily to this video specifically. So after this video, pretty much 2 weeks later, Peyton comes out with his third video, and this is the one that fucking explodes the whole thing. This video got 3.1 million views and got TikTok talking about this whole situation non-stop. In this video, he not only talks about Z and everything behind the scenes with Unfuck America, he also talks about the individual creators who were in the Unfuck America tour not being as cool and as base as they wanted you to seem. And so I'll just show you guys the parts of the video that I haven't talked about yet, because this is kind of the catalyst where all the fuck shit starts happening.
So this is Andra. You might have seen Andra on your For You page. She's the one that talks like this out of the side of her mouth so that people won't hear her lying all the fucking time. And we're starting with Andra for a very specific reason. I'll get to it in a second. First, let's hear her response video to this entire Z being racist situation.
Apparently, our organizer, Z, joined a panel full of black women and said a lot of microaggressive and racist comments. And that's what it was. Point blank, no excuse. The second I found out about it, I voiced my opinion in our group chat strongly. In fact, I started a lot of fights about it. Because if you know me, the last thing I'm going to do is bite my tongue unless I'm literally so sick in bed that I cannot take a phone call.
Okay, she was sick. That's why she couldn't respond. But of course, she hates Z. She hates all of the things that Z did. And... oh. You bald-faced liar, you racist little fuck. You were there during the live, and when Z was on the live, and after Z got off the live. You were on your spam account trolling them. You were saying that black women on that live were miserable, that they were just attacking Z to attack her, that they were just yapping to yap. And later on, you were talking about how you were losing mutuals because you weren't speaking out about this situation. And you most definitely did not immediately get mad at Z and tell her to fuck off and you know what? I'm gonna say it, racism's bad. Next up, we have Off Jawagon. A lot of you guys correctly assumed he was the person that sent me these DMs from that previous video. Hey Dean, I know we've talked before, but you've got a lot of explaining to do. See, I know a secret you've been keeping. You betrayed the creators on this tour and your audience who donated to this tour because you knew about Z a week before that live even happened. Note the time and date of the first message, and here's a screen recording of all of the messages, and you can see that Dean absolutely saw these. He was told that Z doesn't like paying her employees a week before this live even happened, and he didn't tell any of us creators. I was still on the tour. I hadn't been kicked off. Didn't hear a goddamn thing about this, Dean. And then come to find out, you were partying with Z at Texas A&M after everything went down. But when you said you were all torn up after the live, but you really knew that you needed to be there for your fans, you lying bitch. So just to be clear, you knew about her deceptive business practices beforehand and decided not to say anything to your audience who kept donating to the UnF America tour, and not to say anything to the creators who were professionally linked to her. But no harm, no foul. It's not like any money went missing, right? Did somebody say money? I know everyone has heard by now that the creators are not getting the money they were promised, and $100,000 seemingly vanished into thin air. But I think I know exactly where it went, right into Zico and Sanchez's pocket. These are screenshots from the FEC's website for the National Ground Game campaign, and you'll notice there's $95,000 sent to a company called Soul Strategies. Well, that seems like a lot of money, Peyton, but why is that so weird? Well, guess who the founder and owner of Soul Strategies is? If you guessed our girl Z, you would be right, except for between 2020 and 2023 when she was pretending it was a black-owned business while giving a black woman only 15% of the company and making her do all of the work while calling her lazy and a piece of shit.
So since this whole thing kind of exploded because of this most recent video, it found its way to some very gross and disgusting and pus-filled communities. This sack of shit decided to cover it on stream and talk about it. And if you don't know who this is Destiny. Destiny is a massive political streamer who kind of has a feud with everyone, but is still kind of around for some reason. I don't know how the fuck he does that. A little tidbit about Destiny for context. He's also getting sued right now for sexual harassment claims. I'll just keep that one in the back of your mind. I'm so biased, Jesus Christ. But also, something you should know about Destiny, he doesn't really like Parker or Dean that much. So this controversy was perfect for him, but he reacted in a weird way. And I'll cover that later because somehow he's important to the story. I don't know how the fuck he does it. He always comes back. When I think he's gone, he always comes back. He's like that FNAF guy. He's like that guy. So after this third video came out, Dean and Parker kind of felt like they had to make a response. So they did what they did best and they went on stream. Oh boy, this is fucking awesome. There was multiple streams where Dean and Parker, especially Dean, specifically addressed this controversy head on. But essentially what he said is, I didn't know what happened. If I knew what would happen, I would have stopped it. I don't stand for it. And I think we should get Z off the tour.
And at the time, my internal justification was that, well, I have fans across the country that have already bought their plane tickets to go to Texas, and they're gonna be there, and I wanna make sure that I'm there for them. And in retrospect, I recognize that I did not handle the situation correctly, and that on its own was not valid. I now recognize that I could have leveraged my influence and could have basically said that either she holds herself accountable and we see genuine progress, or I'm not going to go. And the likely response would have from the pack would have been, damn, all right, she's either going to hold herself accountable or we're going to kick her off.
So just so we're clear, the stance right now from Dean and potentially a lot of the people on the tour is that Z needs to get kicked the fuck off. But along with these responses from pretty much everyone, Dean also did a live stream talking to Peyton where he pressed him on a few things. And the biggest thing to come from his live stream was when Dean asked who from the second video that we said was important, wait, what of the black creators that were mentioned in that video did not get paid? And Dean said that he would pay out of pocket to make it even. And Peyton basically said, I don't want to give it to you. Sorry.
Maybe you could address is a fact that after you'd posted a video claiming that there was black women that went on the trip that did not have their travel covered, I then DM'd you, and in private, I asked you to please tell me what the names of the black women were so I could take care of it myself. You then like refused to tell me the names of them, and then like started making fun of me, talking about like designer Coach bags, and I didn't really respond to you making fun of me, and then I just asked you again if you could like please tell me the names of the black creators so I could take care of it myself, and then you refused to. And I was just wondering why you'd refuse to, because it was a case that I like genuinely...
Because it's not my place to release their names, and you guys acting as if I did is crazy. People talking about me bringing up people who were affected by this trip, people who should have been paid, who you admitted should have been paid.
So I'm planning on keeping most of my opinions and really breaking this down for later parts in the video. I'm just trying to get the timeline here somewhat situated for right now because it's, again, a lot. I just want to interject because this isn't as important, but I wanted to say that this does look a little damning on Peyton's end. It does look a little fucked up for Peyton, but it kind of makes sense, and I'll explain just real quick why I believe it makes sense. Basically, what Peyton was saying is that a lot of the black creators that were on the tour didn't get their flights or their cars paid for, and they had to pay out of pocket for it, and potentially weren't going to get paid back for it because of everything that was happening now. And Dean reached out to Peyton to ask who these creators were who didn't get paid. This is a very nice thing. This is a very chivalrous thing, and I believe that if Peyton and Dean were good friends or they knew each other better, he would have given the names for free. But there is always a chance when working with stuff like this where there are potentially bad actors that Peyton could have given the names to Dean. Dean wouldn't have paid anyone and then not included them in any future events, and it completely shunned them out and tried to ruin their credibility, because a lot of the creators on this tour are insanely small compared to someone like Dean or Peyton. And so if you're like a viewer of Dean in this live, it might seem a little crazy for Peyton and contradictive for Peyton not to give the names, but it does make a little bit of sense. And I want to make that clear before I get comments saying, oh, Peyton's a piece of shit for not giving the names, blah, 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 blah. And Peyton explains himself a little bit, but it's not that important. And the reason I felt a need to explain this is because when Destiny talked about it, he just completely did not understand that at all, and it pissed me off the entire fucking time, you fucking rat. So pretty much after this, it was the continuous damage control, and not much stuff really changed until the greaseball, the little slime guy, Destiny, did a stream with Z, the Z, yeah. And in this, they discussed everything that was going on with Unfuck America and in her opinion and her viewpoint. And actually, it was illuminated a lot of things, but there were a lot of things that she kind of misrepresented. So let's go over that interview real quick because it's pretty damn important. So she spends majority of it giving her side, but this video is already 20 minutes long. Jesus fucking Christ. So instead of just watching all of it and showing her full side, because I've kind of tried to give both sides of the story, I'm just going to show you the parts where she talks directly and she really tries to refute some of the things that creators have said about her.
Like with Peyton too, so because Peyton, the whole Peyton thing happened before the tour as well. So Peyton did not reach out to anybody on our team, like nothing. There was no like grievance or any inquiry about people not getting paid. To be very clear, everybody got their travel paid for. Like the idea that like we didn't pay for people of color to have their travel paid for is just absolute. Like I don't even know where that even came from.
You would obviously assume there's some kind of mistake being made here before anything else. So to instantly jump to that, I think is a little bit comical. Yeah.
With Peyton, I mean, he released that video without talking to anybody, and then thought that it was weird that we asked him to like return our rental car, which obviously was like in the company name, that if you're not going on the tour, of course, like you'd return the equipment that the tour rented you.
Peyton, I guess, tried to do a getcha on a phone call where somebody, I'm assuming from your org, was calling to return the rental car. And I was surprised. It was a professional call. The guy didn't seem upset or anything. You know, he was just asking, you know, to have the car returned and all of that. I think he was even careful with his legal phrasing, like, well, we can't keep you from going to any events because they're on a public campus, but obviously there are some people that prefer you wouldn't and everything, so it was pretty professional. And then Peyton tried to do something, I think it was in text messages with you, where he said that you lied about him signing a contract. Do you have anything insofar as that, or what?
Yeah, and I was like, I was responding yes to something not anything to do with his contract. So I was like, but he didn't have a contract, and nobody was telling him to do anything. Like all we were telling him to do was just please return the rental car that we rented you. Like that.
Before we go into the next part talking about Dean, I wanted to address the Peyton thing because it's kind of quick. So for the first thing, with not paying black creators on the tour and them saying it's kind of an insane thing for Peyton or anyone else to jump to that, and you're kind of a fucking idiot if you believe this, I feel like it's kind of fair. Like, I think it's a little bit of an insane take to have, but given the context, at least from what you believe that this person's character is, not only for allegedly committing fraud, but also potentially allegedly being racist, if you're following the train of logic that Peyton and a bunch of other people have, it would kind of make sense that the conclusion would be that not only do you not want to pay the only people of color on the tour, but you also are kind of a bad person who doesn't like giving people their money. Now, for the part with the car, that's from the second video, that the infamous second video. And so what they're describing is kind of accurate, except for her talking about the text messages. She said that Peyton tried to get a gotcha moment and was responding to something completely different. But if you see the text messages he shows, she was responding directly to what he asked her about with the contract. So it's a little suspicious. Also, side note, it's not just Destiny that does this, but it fucking pisses me off when these like drama streamers or political streamers will be talking about something that's like a big deal and super important, some serious allegations, and they're just playing Balatro. It's so fucking insane to me. Like, there's this clip of this one streamer who was playing Balatro, and he popped off while someone was on his stream talking about some serious allegations. It was so fucking insane. Like, Destiny does this every single time, and it looks exactly like this. I just want to talk about some of the bad stuff that really happened, you know. Working with this company and working with this brand, there's a lot of issues going on, and internally and externally, especially like when they invited that Mr. Hands guy, all those stuff with those horses, those poor fucking horses. Terrible. Hey, thanks for the donation.
Terrible. Like, I really could not stand for it. Like, it was, oh my god, it was so traumatic. And the fucking, oh my god, when they fucking, when they, you know, when the bomb threats happened.
Yeah. Anyways, let me show you the part where she talks about Dean.
Parker and Dean, I want to make it very clear that Parker and Dean, at every single instance throughout, before this happened, during this, and afterwards, had said to not make a statement. Very specifically said not to make a statement, said that it would not be good for them or for us. So I guess the creators had gotten together, created this alternate group chat sometime between Friday and Saturday, and essentially made a plan, in my view, to take over the pack. That was the ultimate goal, was that they didn't want the tour to end. They just wanted me to be completely out of the picture and for them to take over the whole organization. So with their own person. I wasn't involved in those chats, so I don't know what went down. I just got this through secondhand information of people I know that were in those chats. Was that was ultimately the plan, and that if I didn't immediately agree to step down, that they would continue the tour on their own. That was the plan. So we had a schedule for Sunday morning. Somehow decided in the course of that 3-hour meeting to not come to us at all and to just go live. So even though we had a meeting planned for the next morning, everything was good. I had spoken to Dean and Parker that morning. Essentially, they thought that Parker, more so Parker than Dean, had thought that it was a good idea at this point to make a statement because he was getting a lot of pushback on his personal channel. And so I essentially said, okay, I want you to actually, because they hadn't actually watched the live at that point, so they were saying things that I was saying that I never said. They were saying oh, you need to apologize because you called them aggressive. And I said, well, I didn't say that. And they were like, okay, well, you said this. And I was like, well, I didn't say that. And so I was like, okay, well, why don't you go watch it? And then let's come back and have a real conversation, because I don't want to apologize for something I didn't do. I want to make sure that it's a genuine apology that actually makes sense. And they never called me back.
Sunday, and this was after you had the meeting or before your meeting?
So they never showed up to the meeting. They
just skipped the meeting. Okay.
So they skipped the meeting. We still wanted to try to save it. So we were like, okay, let's set up a meeting where we can air our grievances and find a way to move forward. And so all the creators, all of them showed up to that meeting. Every single one, except for Dean and Parker. Dean and Parker did not come. They had a representative speak for them, which was another creator. I'll just say who it was. It was Dean. We were at an event. We were at the event, and it was super hot or whatever. And one of our staffers were collecting orders for Starbucks, and we went and got the Starbucks and came back. And Dean was like, "Well, I can't drink it out of this cup." And we were like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, I can't." He's like, "They're on the boycott list. I can't drink it out of this cup." He's like, "I'm going to need you guys to find another cup to pour it in." so I could drink my coffee. And to us, that was just a little bit like, I don't know. First of all, Starbucks isn't even on the boycott list as far as I'm aware. And like, second of all, like, I don't know, like things like that, like it looked really like weird to us. We were like, why? Like, you're that concerned about your image that like you'll still drink Starbucks, but you won't drink it out of the cup. And there were like multiple things like that happened where it was like sort of like making our staff go out of our way to make them look good.
So after this talk with Destiny, Dean actually decided to go live and kind of address some of the things, because what Z said about Dean wasn't that damning, but he still felt I need to talk about that and some of the other things. It's kind of an update to the Unfuck America tour situation. So he talks about the coffee cup thing, and his reasoning actually kind of made sense.
And the reason why I asked it to be placed in a different cup is because I just didn't want to promote the brand. Like, I could acknowledge that I don't think I'd drink it under typical circumstances, which is true. However, like, I did drink it under like the atypical circumstance that it was bought by the organizers of the pack. And I just simply didn't want to promote the brand, so we put it in an Unfuck America cup.
But he also heavily perpetuates the claim from Peyton's third video that Z is a fraud artist, that she's a fucking scammer. Not only bringing up what Peyton talked about in that video, but also kind of perpetuating a lot of stuff that some creators were saying about not getting paid. And he also said that Z, him, and the rest of the creators have also parted ways, and they're going to try to somewhat salvage this if possible. So, addressing the Z fraud allegation. He's talking about the lawsuit that happened with Z's company, Soul Strategies. Now, with this lawsuit, it is claimed that Z committed fraud and frauded a lot of her employees in the entire company as a whole. Well, interesting thing about that lawsuit was actually won by Z. Z won that lawsuit. And not only that, Z uploaded a video. Z showed the full receipts of how she paid everyone on the Unfuck America tour and where all the money went. So I don't think the fraud allegations stand too strong. But after this, it's kind of dissipated. There's been a bunch of smaller dramas, which I might cover in this video if there's time. I hope there's enough time. But that's pretty much where we are now. Nothing big has really happened since the Dean live stream. It's been kind of quiet since then. He's gone back to debating Trump supporters on TikTok Live. So now that we have the full info dump, let's kind of break it down and kind of talk about it like adults. All right, so from everything that's gone on, there's two kind of viewpoints I've seen. And the issue is I kind of agree with both of them. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate for both of them. It's fucked up what they've done to me. So for the first one, it's mostly from the Destiny kind of crowd. And they're basically saying that what she said and the microaggressions weren't that insane, and the reaction was fucking insane. And I can kind of agree. Look, as a Caucasian male, I definitely have experience with microaggressions. You can take that any way you want. The way I see microaggressions, and I could be wrong, I don't really get affected by them, so I could be wrong, is that they're a very common occurrence. Microaggressions kind of happen all the time, whether on purpose or not, and they're more of like little mistakes. It's like a little X on your tally sheet. If you accidentally commit a microaggression and you apologize and you show genuine compassion and concern, then you're cool, you're good. But if you continuously do it and it is becoming kind of a problem, then maybe you need to reevaluate some shit in your life. So I think Z getting kicked out of Unfuck America for some microaggressions is a little bit of an insane reaction. And I think this insane reaction only came about purely just because the influencers who were on this tour didn't care too much. I mean, look, if you think it's seriously a problem, I think that's completely fine. But I don't think it's as big of a deal as it was kind of made to seem. So a lot of the creators who were on this tour who didn't really feel a need to really even talk about this or didn't really care, after getting called out, felt a need for their brand and their career safety to kind of overreact and overact towards this entire situation, and thus leads to her getting kicked out and them doing whatever the fuck they're doing now. But at the same time, it's kind of fucking stupid and insane to assume that the audience that you've created and the audience that you have for a left-leaning tour who is mainly made out of left-leaning TikTok audiences wouldn't be upset about this. Like, you go onto a live stream and start actively being aggressive and saying whatever to these ladies on this panel, acting like they're stupid and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's a little insane. Even if they weren't a panel of black ladies, it's all insane. You are the face and the head of this organization, and you are going on TikTok live streams and using the I know what you are, but what am I fucking gambit? What? You are an adult? What the fuck? You run companies. You own companies. And so in my opinion, it basically boils down to this. I don't think V should have been completely kicked off the tour. I think it's fucking insane that she got completely banished and everything stripped from her. But at the same time, I don't think she should have been a face or a figure on the tour. I think she should have taken a step down on a leadership position and should have not been in the public eye at all. And she's pretty much the only person who is associated with this tour who could really run it effectively at all. Like, Dean and the rest of the people on this tour are planning on trying to fix this, and I don't think it'll work at all. And she's kind of the only person that will be able to do anything for this at all. That she thinks she can get around with no consequences. She did apologize, and she did say that she apologized, but it seemed like she was only doing it because she felt like she had to. I mean, it's a terrible look. And as Z is someone who claims to be a serious professional, she has to know that this is the dumbest shit you could ever do. Even if you had a mama bear moment, it's so fucking stupid, dude. So yes, I think one side overreacted an insane amount, and I think the other side underreacted an insane amount. Both sides are equally fucking stupid. And in terms of the other creators on this tour, I don't really care too much. I mean, it's kind of expected that a lot of these people are grifters and bad actors. Kind of the case for most of the people in politics today, especially on social media. It's rampant. But I think it's important to say my opinion on Dean, at least with this situation. I kind of feel bad for Dean. He kind of put himself in a box with the audience he has. I mean, he feels like a constant need to level his emotions and kind of be a robot to a specific cause. And as someone who supports a lot of the things that he is for and is generally with him on most things, it is kind of upsetting to see someone my age have to regulate their emotions to not get lampooned by his audience. There's so many clips where he will get actually angry at something, which is completely fair and valid. Majority of the clips I've seen him get angry at are completely fair and valid. A human, and then he sits there, reboots, and then apologizes for losing his temper a little bit. And I'm not trying to come across like a manosphere right-leaning fucking freak. I don't associate with those guys at all, but I do think it's a little disappointing that this poor fucking guy has been thrown into this kind of spotlight where I'm pretty sure all he wants to do is just go around on tours to these different campuses and just party a little bit, which I can't fucking blame him. And yes, there's a lot more nuance to this and a lot more discussion, but I think there's a lot that's still missing. Like, I think there's a lot that could be talked about and a lot that we could really understand further, especially if we got to talk to someone who's heavily involved in this. I just wish I could talk to someone like that. Well, Advil Army, I got an interview with Peyton. Yes, the Peyton. And I drove down to Atlanta to try to talk to him. So please enjoy my talk with Peyton. Now, you see, this is where the Peyton section would be if I actually filmed it. See, the problem is I DM'd Peyton. I said, hey, gang, you want to try to do an interview? He said, I'm so down. And it turns out he was going to be near me in Atlanta doing a comedy show to try to buy affordable housing in the area, which is a great thing. And I think it's fantastic. And I have the links down below to some of those resources if you want to donate, because it really is an amazing thing. You should. Fuck, that stutter was bad. So I decided to buy tickets. Me and my fucking dumbass friends decided to drive to Atlanta and try to talk to him. And we drive down, we go to the show. It was fucking funny as shit, except one issue. Peyton wasn't there. The white boy bounced. He was just not there. Was a little confused on why he wasn't there. And I checked my Instagram and he posted a video saying that he got kicked off the comedy set. And you know, it sucks a little. It's a little unfortunate, but what can you do? So I DM him. I'm like, yo, let me know if you want to interview. And I got left on red. Like a fucking dickhead. And then I get a notification that he posted a new video. And now I'm really pissed. How the fuck can you not respond to my DM, but can post a new video? You fucking asshole. But in this video, it's a completely different guy. It looks nothing like Peyton. So I'm a little confused. I'm a little interested. I got clickbaited a little bit. And in the video, the guy who's not Peyton, who's actually his cameraman and I think editor, came on there to talk about how Peyton recently got arrested for some things that happened in 2024. Yeah, he got arrested, which was a complete fucking shock to me. I don't know how the fuck this happened. I'm not gonna share the full video because it's like 10 minutes long, but essentially what happened, Peyton got accused and it was told that he looked similar to a guy that they were trying to investigate in 2024. So the police decided to arrest him without any real questioning or anything and held him there for a while until eventually they decided to let him go because there was not enough evidence. And he didn't get a court date, he didn't get a court appearance, and so Peyton decided to fucking dip. And so he dipped and he never got talked to again. He's talking to the officers who talked to him and they said he was good. He was fucking kosher. So he decides to come back to Atlanta and they fucking get his ass for failing to appear in court. Now, what is the law that they're claiming that he broke? Armed robbery. Yeah, isn't that fucking insane? This is all insane. And there's a bunch of people on TikTok who are saying that he actually did it and he's a piece of shit and a terrible person. And there's been some updates made, but really, we don't know anything until he's out of jail. He's in jail for like 30 days and it's fucking insane. God, I feel like I haven't stopped saying that. Now, let's go over my final thoughts because I have some important things to say. I need to talk my shit. I've seen a lot of people when discussing the UnF America tour have talked about why is this important? Why does this really matter when it's trying to do something so good? And I can kind of understand that. I mean, it does logically make sense. There's bigger fish to fry. There's more important things to talk about. And there's more important things to do besides just complaining about the tour manager for a reason that can kind of come across like like unimportant. Well, in my opinion, I see it like this. I think what V did pretty objectively not great. I mean, again, I don't think the tour should have gotten completely fucked over. I don't think they should have canceled everything. I think that's a little insane. And I don't even think she should have been fired. I think she's fine at being at least somewhat involved with the tour. But I think what the problem is there's this kind of weird mentality that people have currently where everyone believes that the ends justify the means in the worst ways possible. What I mean is if they continue doing the tour and everything went great, but they completely ignored everything that happened with V and the entire live stream, eventually it would come out again and people would completely ignore and try to make everything that happened during the tour feel illegitimate. And the backlash would probably be so much worse for these creators because they actually went every single campus with V and still was okay with what she did. Like, imagine the backlash that all these creators are getting now while knowing what V was doing. Imagine if they did that throughout the entire country. Imagine how insane TikTok would be towards them. And I'm not saying it's doomed from the start at all. I think they could have saved the tour and they could have continued doing it and they could be doing it right now if they didn't handle it poorly. V is a working professional who has been in this industry for a long time. She should have studied the audience and the people that she was engaging with in this space. I feel like that's pretty fucking obvious before going on a live stream and spouting shit. And she should not have listened to these fucking teenage and 20-year-old influencers about how to handle these allegations. That's the biggest fucking blunder on her part. And with all the other influencers involved, I think it's kind of obvious that they're grifting. I mean, they don't really do much to support actual issues in a quantitative state, besides if it makes them look good. I mean, a lot of them spend all their time fucking debating people on TikTok live. No offense, that doesn't really do shit. I think the tour was ultimately a good idea that could have done a lot of good and helped a lot of people, creators or not. I think it could have been a really good thing and could have started a conversation for people like me, but ultimately it was doomed to fail because of shitty organizers, shitty creators, and just shitty planning. And now the issue is things like this just aren't gonna happen as frequently because people are gonna look at this and probably not be willing to give money and trust this again. And there's not a person who got every single thing right. I like Peyton. I interacted with Peyton. I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was a really nice guy. And I kind of feel bad that he's in prison right now because that kind of sucks. But even he didn't get everything right. He brought up those allegations against V about fraud and scamming. And it turns out those didn't make her look bad really at all. I mean, Dean and Parker look like fucking idiots. V looks like a fucking idiot. And Destiny is a disgusting fucking rat. And it's just a little disappointing. And what I think the takeaway from this is be cautious, but don't be pessimistic. That's kind of the best advice that the Pillman's got for you. Don't believe everything that influencers tell you about their political or social beliefs, which I feel like should be fucking obvious. Keep in mind that they still have the opportunity and the chance to lie to you, just like everyone else. And they probably will. But in the same vein, it's always good to try to do your best and always good to try to speak your mind, talk your shit. If you really believe in something, fucking go for it. Try to fix it, try to change it, try to do something good. I think the sentiments for this tour and what they did at the first stop was fucking amazing. And if anyone wants to try that again, and if anyone wants to do that again, I will be fully supportive of it until proven otherwise. Because I think it's a good thing. I think it's good that people are actively doing things. But I think that's it for me today. I appreciate you watching. I have another video about politics and influencers and all that shit that you can watch. It's pretty damn good if I say so myself. And I'm gonna start streaming again. I took a little bit of a break because my car blew up. So that's cool. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. I'm really funny on there. I stream sometimes. I'm gonna start streaming again. So check in on that. I stream on YouTube. So make sure to check that out. And please subscribe, like, do all that shit. Watch the next video that comes up and recommended because that helps me a lot. That helps the big dog here when you watch my videos when they get recommended to you. And let me know in the comments what you think of this video. I probably won't be doing another political video for a minute, but they're pretty fun. So I hope you enjoy it. And I really appreciate it. But I think that's it for me today. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Breakfast with a bitch named Tiffany, Wrist game is thin cause it's ivory, Got your mommy with me now, irony, Trying to pipe my dentist, fake a cavity, What? I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, so I'm the center of attention, and I'm in your girl's mention.